awesome was that?
Oh, was that exciting or what?
Yeah!
Okay, okay, good, I'm on. Yeah, that really was exciting for me as well. I mean that. And yeah, I just, like I said, it's probably the 7th or 8th time. Can we get these lights up a little bit, or you want to watch the credits? Yeah, the credits behind me. Yeah, it's probably, I don't know, 7, 8 times I've seen it, and probably the 3rd, 4th time at a screening with you guys, so it's wonderful. But yeah, this time I really just sat back and enjoyed it, you know. I don't really get to do that because I'm kind of nitpicky about everything. But, so questions, go ahead, fire away, anybody. Well, yeah, you know, Fox Studios, you know, it's been in, what's the term they use? Development hell, you know, for many, many years. I think Stephen Summers had the rights for a while, and then Neil Moritz, and for some reason, those 2 different times, they did not follow through with the option. And so Fox Studios, Matt Riley, he was a big fan of Flash Gordon when he was 8 years old. So, you know, he grew up and he became this big executive at Fox Studios. They've acquired the screenplay rights, so it is in development right now. So it looks good because you know, he has a I guess a personal passion for it. So I hope it's done.
What was it like working with Max von Sydow?
Yeah, he was great. Yeah, he was wonderful, Max. You know, he was how do you say? Yeah, I guess I looked at him as a mentor, you know, and very gracious. And you know, he sort of kept to himself. He was very serious about his part, but very open-minded, you know, and gave me he gave me a little bit of advice too. So it was wonderful. He taught me a few things. It was great. Can I get a water too, please? Yeah, go ahead.
All the different outfits they had in the movie, were there any that you really liked, or
All of the different
outfits?
Oh yeah, the wardrobe. Yeah, they're all, you know, all pretty cool. Well, you know, running around in a tank top the whole time, you know, with an automatic tan. It was great. Yeah, just so I stayed loose. You know, we had a lot of action, a lot of fight scenes. So, you know, if I had to wear something like Ming, I had to wear the whole time, I probably couldn't move. But I was pretty comfortable. Really was. The difficulty really was if it was a white shirt. You know, all the sets were painted. You know, red sets, silver, gold. So that fight scene on the rotating disc was silver. Thank you very much. And I think I had, what shirt did I have on? Did I have a red tank top for that? Yeah. Well, that became a nightmare because every time I think Timothy had the green outfit on. So every time we rolled, we'd pick up that silver paint. So it was time consuming.
When Princess Aura straddled you, did it really turn you on?
Who said that? Raise your hand. No, man, that was just acting. Come on.
Come on.
No, she was wonderful. She really was. No, Dino De Laurentiis, he was very, very strict. Couldn't keep anything, but I did keep. I think we had 8 of the Flash T-shirts, and they're all hand painted. All the red is hand painted, and I kept one. So, and I think it's the only one in existence.
Nice.
Cool.
Right here.
This movie looks like it was a lot of fun to make. How long were we all filming, and where does this rank as far as your favorite projects that you've done?
No, I mean it was favorite. It was one of my favorites. I prefer outdoor shooting, outside in the, you know, in the elements, the sun, the snow, all of that, the mountains. But we only had one week of exteriors, and that was the airport where I first met Dale, and that was in Scotland. But yeah, I mean, it ranks the top two, I guess, of all time. And it took us. Remember we filmed this in 1979, and it. I was 8 years old. I was 30. Well, what is that? 36 years ago. I was 25 at the time. I guess 6 months of filming. Yeah.
Hey,
Right.
the rocket cycles, the cycle, did it move at all? Or you just literally standing at a camera acting goofy?
No, well, it has wheels on it, too. But it's a good question. The rocket cycle is enormous. It's actually 12 feet long, 8 feet wide, and 8 feet high. It really is. And by the way, when we filmed Ted, Seth built a duplicate, an actual replica, and he gave it to me. So I have it.
Nice.
Pretty cool, actually. But yeah, it weighs about 500 pounds, and it's on wheels, so it's easy to move.
Speaking of Ted, how did that all come about?
Well, I was referring to Matt Riley of Fox Studios. He was 8 years old when he saw Flash Gordon, and he told me it was life-changing. Same thing with Seth MacFarlane. And I got a call a few years back, and I said, "Who's this?" He said, "Seth MacFarlane." I said, "Who are you?" He said, "Hey, when I was, I think he was 9, when I saw Flash, I was 9 years old. It changed my life, man. I knew after watching you in the movie, I wanted to be this creative person." I said, "Well, you became creative, but a little bit perverted, didn't you?"
Yeah.
But he said, "Look, I'm directing my first movie, and it's about a teddy bear, a teddy bear, and I want to bring you on board." So that's how that happened. So I'm getting these calls, 30 plus years later, 35 years later, I'm getting these calls from who were once children, who have now grown up and done quite well, in the movie industry. So it's wonderful.
How about Queen and Freddie Mercury? Did you get to meet them? Great.
No, I didn't. I wish, it's a little bit different process, when the actors and all the other talent, film the movie, and once it's finished, then they'll choose a band or a musician, and they'll put them in a room at a recording studio, and they say, "Okay, write some music." And I think Queen really complimented the movie a great deal, really.
So when was the first time you heard the theme song, if you will?
That's a good question. Probably 36 years ago, somewhere in.
But I mean, like in the production, was it after everything was already wrapped up, or?
Maybe it was at the actual premiere. Yeah.
How was it working with Mark Wahlberg?
Who asked that? Raise your hand. Great guy, really is. Very humble, very quiet, very, very, very humble. Good man.
So was the swamp scene as gross for you as it looked?
What's that?
Was the swamp scene as gross for you as it looked?
No, actually, it's kind of cool. It was heated. The water was warm, and it wasn't mud. It was, what was it? Cork. Grinded cork.
Monster group that.
Monster Goop was Monster Goop. Yeah. Yes, right here.
Well, it relates to the dynamic as far as the movie with Princess Aura and your character Flash. Her as an empowered woman, I'm wondering how you would describe the ways in which that enabled your character Flash to be that triumphant hero.
Well, did everybody hear the question?
No.
That's a long. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but basically, she's asking about Ornella, Princess Aura, her character, and my character, and how it influenced and developed my character?
How,
All she had to do was sit on my lap, honey, and that was
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
developed, and I.
Plain and
it was-
simple.
it was-
Go, Flash, go.
I'm just wondering the ways in which, how you would describe the ways in which her character enabled Flash to then be this hero that he was in the end, because
Are
she
you
brought you
serious?
back to life. Not you, well, Flash. She was the one who believed in you, and she saw something that.
Oh, she was just a horny woman.
She was a slut. This is pretty much. She was a
And
slut.
obviously, she saw the light at one point.
Right.
But she was using men left and right to get her way.
But you were but you came through.
That's why she didn't understand tears until it happened to her.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the people didn't understand teamwork and.
Right. So without her believing in you, and then so there was like this symbiotic connection.
Oh my
God. Wanting
gosh.
to know.
Get off the.
That's a great question.
But not.
I think what it did,
Not really.
I think she saw the light with the man she should have been with. With Baron, right? Does that make sense? I kind of helped her point that way. Stop wasting your time with me. It's going to be a one-night stand. Stop wasting your time with talking to everybody else. And this is the guy who really, loves you. And, well, he didn't trust her. I think he trusts her now, right?
After she got the boar worms.
Yeah, that's a funny line, it really is. That kind of echoes in my head all the time. Oh no, not the boar worms. It really is funny. Yes, right here.
I'm sure you guys are all consummate professionals, but with that room full of unbelievable women, can you give us just one semi-freaky story from the film? NC-17 or better.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I mean, let me see. I've done 51 films, and I only dated one of the leading ladies, only one. I'm not going to tell you which one. But no, I mean, I was always in a relationship at the time, either married or had a girlfriend. But freaky stories. I tell you, that particular film. Yeah, and the ladies were beautiful. I mean, the guy, everybody, just looked incredible. But I was so inundated with. I mean, I didn't have time for me. Really, the big moment for me was when I got a bathroom break. I'm serious. We would shoot a scene. Okay, Sam, I mean, there's no time. Okay, go outside. You have to learn. The bullwhip artist is here. You got to learn to use the bullwhip. Okay, so rehearse that. Okay, now. Come on, follow me. Now we got to go to another set, and we have to rehearse a fight scene. I mean, it did not stop. And when I went home, I was out, man. I mean, there's no partying. Maybe I think we had Sundays off. So Saturday night, yeah, maybe I went out. It wasn't long though. And then up every morning early at 4:30. 5 a.m. I ran Hyde Park, sort of the Central Park of London, and exercised and and went to work, man. But it was a blessing to work, but it was work, it really was. So there wasn't a whole lot of time for nonsense.
Sam, right here.
Yeah, where are you?
Back
Okay, yeah, okay, good, yeah.
My daughter wants to know if you did all your own stunts.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, I usually do. I don't do high falls, and I don't do fire anymore. Matter of fact, that one scene where I'm, the last scene where I'm piloting the war rocket. What was it called? Was it Ajax?
Yeah.
Ajax, yeah. And the console in front of me, if you notice, was sort of on fire. Mm-hmm. And the director asked me to stay there as long as I could. And at one point, I started smelling hair burning. I looked down at my arms, and all the hair was going off my arms. And that's when I bailed out. But yeah, I don't deal with fire anymore. Or, fight scenes are cool, they're simple. Or I don't deal with high falls. Yes, right here.
Do you recall, even I mean, it was a while back, but do you recall any scenes that you filmed that didn't make it into the final picture at all?
Well, that's a good question. I've never asked that. Did you guys hear that question? You didn't? Yeah, he wanted to know if I recalled any scenes that we filmed that did not make it into the movie. Wow. I'd have to brainstorm that, man, because we filmed so much. I don't know, probably a different version of the same scene, a different camera angle, but as far as an actual different scene and setup, I think they all pretty much made it. It may have been, edited and cut down quite a bit, diminished somewhat, but I think everything made it. Now, are you guys aware that, I just wanted to add this, we had a director for a year and a half, Nicholas Rowe, who did all the planning, what we call pre-production. And he left 3 weeks before filming, and that's when Michael Hodges came in. So it's almost, imagine it's like an architect who designed, who came in with the concept and developed it and all the creation, and then he leaves and a brand new architect comes in and takes over. So that's what happened here. So, I think it turned out really well, considering there were visually two different looks. Yes, way back there. Yeah, it's you.
Do you keep in contact with any of the original cast?
And do I keep in contact with the cast? Yeah, well, Melody lives in the States. By the way, she was the only, Dale Arden, she was the only other American on the entire production. We had 550 people, cast and crew, and primarily English, and then we had about 200 Italians that Dino brought in from Italy. Didn't speak a word of English, and of course most of the English didn't speak a word of Italian. But we, in November, I'm going back to London, and we're going to have the 35th anniversary reunion. So a lot of the cast and crew are invited. We're going to have a screening like this, and probably a red carpet. And I'm just trying to think. But Brian Blessed, we've appeared at a couple different venues, probably the last 10 years, probably 3 different times. And he is a trip, man. He is a character. I'll tell you a quick little story if you want to hear it. You want to hear a quick story about Brian? Yeah, we do these Q&As, and it's usually not just me. It's Melody and I, or Brian. And we were in London a couple years back, and it was the 3 of us, Melody, myself, and Brian. And Brian, if you give Brian the microphone, that's it. You don't get it back. But he has such a way of making you feel good while you're not allowed to say anything. It's amazing. Here's what he did. So somebody asked him a question. He got up from the chair. He took the mic. He sat down here on the stage, and he proceeded to get into this long speech and monologue about how great, what a blessing it was to do this movie, working with Sam and Melody, and he went off for about 10 minutes, and every now and then, but it worked because every now and then he would look back at us and say, "Look at them, aren't they great?" And then he continued with the story, and that was it. We never said anything. That's Brian Blessed. He's wonderful, funny man. Yes, right there. Yeah, well, as far as the sequels, I actually signed for 6 pictures.
Wow.
Yeah. It's I'm not going to say that there's no rhyme or reason, but it's usually about money, how it did at the box office. Flash Gordon, it did really well in every country except here, as far as the box office, theater. But when it came out in VHS, remember those gigantic boxes? It became top 10 of all time, back then. So that's why we didn't do sequels at that time. And it was a $35 million budget. Did you know that? No. So if you do, all you economy people, financial people, if it's 35 million in 1979, you start doing the math on that now, what is it, about 250 million plus?
Probably.
300 million? I don't know. Anyway, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah, I said next to you. Did I?
I like that.
Yes.
I'm curious how, you know, the film was basically British, the music was British. You're from Chicago, you grew up in California. How did you come to the role? How did it manifest itself?
Well, the audition process, it was, by the way, I was born in Chicago, but not raised there. I was raised, well, my dad was military, so, and I'm former Marine Corps as well. Well, I'm not former, I still am a Marine, you know, there's no such thing as a former Marine. Yeah, you know, how did it start? It started with a phone call, you know, hey, Dino De Laurentiis wants to see you. So I went and I met him, and then I think it took 8 or 9 months at that point, you know. I was out in Mexico, Hawaii, filming a movie called 10 with Bo Derek, 1978.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. How many people remember 10? And so I got this call Dino wanted to see me a second time. And Blake Edwards you remember Blake Edwards, all the Pink Panthers? Yeah, so he found out that Dino wanted to see me. He was really cool. So Blake hired a helicopter, got me to Honolulu Airport to get me back in LA, got me on a helicopter to a plane to get me back to LA for a follow-up meeting with De Laurentiis. And it helped because, well, about 6 months later, I think it was, he flew me to London, and now we did the old, didn't stop there, it continued. We did 30 days of the old Hollywood screen testing. And then finally, he told me, he goes, okay, it's you, you know. I didn't realize at the time, I guess he was looking at a lot of different actors, you know. So it's been a blessing, it really has.
On behalf of 2 retired Air Force geeks, we thank you for your service.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your service as well. How many years were you in?
29 years and 8 months.
Oh.
And my wife did 22.
Oh, that's wonderful. Right here. You look like a military man.
Yes, sir.
You are?
Yes, sir. I'm stationed here. Air Force.
You want red yet?
Air Force.
Okay, so it's an Air Force base here, right? I'm sorry to get that now. They must like it, right?
Several of them, actually.
Oh, okay, cool.
Randolph Air Force Base, Lackland Air Force Base.
Wow.
Air Force Base.
That's wonderful.
Why do you think it is after 35 years that people still hold this movie dear to their heart?
Because it's awesome.
I think she said it. It's awesome, and I think if you ask people why, maybe half will say, I don't know, man, I don't know. It's just got everything. But you know, when I first saw it, yeah, it's hard for me to be objective about myself. But when I saw it, I thought, okay, you know, I have to start thinking like, you know, as though I was not in this movie. You know, that's kind of weird to do. But when I first saw it, I thought, okay, okay, am I supposed to laugh? The special effects look really funky. I mean, that's corny. That's not real. That's kind of fake, you know. But here's the deal: you can brainstorm that. You can get mental on it, you know, for hours. But if you just sit back, which I'm starting to do now, and just enjoy the ride, right? That's really what it is. And I'm picking up, you know, really funny. There's some funny lines in there, man. Did anybody pick up that crazy line? You know, when they were, you know, everybody was evacuating. What was it called? Hawkman City. Yeah, and I said, let's pull the curtains down and make some parachutes.
Yeah.
Get that?
Yep.
Are we in space?
Yeah.
Are we in space? Parachutes, yeah, here's some rope for your parachutes. But wow, that's really wacky. You gotta be half stoned to be really watching it.
But then Timothy Dalton comes in with ropes. Said we're gonna need some ropes. It's like okay.
Yeah, I know it's wild. Yeah, thank God for the rocket cycle. You know. And why didn't anybody? I mean, Voltan. Why didn't they pass that information on to Flash Gordon when they took off? By the way, there's a rocket cycle for your escape.
Yeah, exactly.
You may have a brighter idea, maybe parachutes. I don't know, but there's a rocket cycle down there.
Let's do some parachutes.
Yeah. Yes, right here.
Well,
What do you have in your hand there?
well, he's been my buddy since the day I was born.
Oh, how
Well,
about
actually, about 45, and he's 3 months older than me.
Okay.
So this year, we're both 35, and
Can I ask you what is that? I've never seen anything like that in my life. It looks like somebody took a teddy bear and just
it
stretched it out like this.
the reason was Winnie the Pooh. He lost his shirt. He lost his honey pot that he would hold on to, and he's been squished and loved for 35 years.
Okay, all right. Well, he is. He's elongated. Okay. Great character for Flash Gordon. What's your question?
My question is, can you give him a tattoo?
Can we give him a tattoo?
Would you give him a tattoo?
Well, yeah. Oh, you want me to sign
You don't
him?
have to sign him. You don't have to sign him. You want, you can put whatever.
Okay. Let me brainstorm that so I can see, because this is real personal to you, and Lord forbid if I put the wrong tattoo on him. You know? I don't want any trauma here, right? Or drama. Okay. Okay. No, it's personal to you. Yes. Oh, I feel good. Thank you. I have 5 kids and a granddaughter, and they keep me. My sons, my daughters, we challenge each other. I can still do more pull-ups and push-ups than all my kids, and their age is 14 to 32. Oh, I've got time for 2 more. Okay, all the way in the back.
The fight between Flash and Barrett, did anybody fall off that platform?
Well, yeah, numerous times. Yeah, we did. Yeah, it was wild. They had, obviously, you saw the rotating disc that if you fell, led to infinity and beyond. But, it wasn't. It was basically, now once that disc was rotated, its highest point was probably 30, 35 feet. So back then, 36 years ago, they didn't have a lot of, well, they had them, but the English back then would use boxes. They would stack boxes, and it's kind of, you're thinking, well, wait a minute, boxes. Disconcerting, ouch. They didn't really use airbags or big foam deals, right? So I said, guys, I'm kind of uncomfortable about this. And anyway, they said, "Oh, stop it, you sissy." But they said, "Trust me." So I'm looking at these boxes, and I said, "Well, you do have them. The way they were stacked, they were all offset, not just stacked on top of each other, but offset." So I said, "Okay, we'll try it," because we were all bound to fall. Anyway, I fell. First time I fell, you'd hit it about 30, 35 feet, and you go, ooh, and then all of a sudden, your body would just form into the box. It created a perfect form for your body. So when you got up, there was your body, your form. So my point is it worked. It's a little sharp cardboard edge in the beginning, but it worked. And we went through a lot of boxes.
All right, one more question.
Right here.
What was your funnest movie you've ever done?
The funnest movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, the funnest movie I've ever done. Oh gosh, that was, Flash was fun, but it wasn't, yeah, here we are. That was fun. I mean, it was work, it was great. But as far as on the set, actually I just did something wild and wacky, man. It's called Enter the Fist. It's a spoof. It's a combination of Police Academy meets the worst kung fu movie you ever saw in your life.
Nice.
And that was fun. I mean, the director, there was no script for me. It said, whatever you want to do, roll camera, go.
Nice.
That's why I'm a little lethargic right now. We finished shooting at, was it midnight last night.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. Oh, who's got a really important question? I know he said one more, but come on. I think these are all important. You know, if it's really good, it's really going to be life-changing for all of us. Go like this. Okay, right here.
Being active duty Air Force, I appreciate your rocket flying skills. But also, this is my daughter's very first time seeing Flash Gordon, and it's a bit of a surprise for her tonight. My question is for you personally. As a fan of movies, what is your favorite movie?
Well, I mean, I got to bring up Mel Gibson, you know. I got to bring up Braveheart, Patriot, and We Were Soldiers. I mean, I can go on and on, but anytime, yeah, you guys, great movies. I just, any movie where innocence is being abused, you know, or taken advantage of, and everybody needs a hero, and the hero comes in and just, you know, when you think that the villain is going to win, here comes the hero, man. And that scene in The Patriot, how many saw The Patriot? Okay, I mean, come on, now you got me going. But when my kids were really little, when The Patriot came out, do you remember the scene where they just shot and killed his second oldest son, right? Mm-hmm. And now they're taking his oldest son away to hang him or, you know, execute him. And he looks at his two youngest, 8 and 9 year old, Nathan and Samuel. He says, "Follow me, boys." They're thinking, oh my gosh. And they take off with their muskets, you know, out in the woods, and they catch up to the British regulars. Let's call them special ops. Okay, I mean, these were 22 soldiers who were the elite of the elite, and one man who, and here's the turning point. You know, his sons thought he was a coward because he didn't want to vote for war. Okay, and by the time his two boys and Mel Gibson got done with these 22 special ops soldiers, Mel Gibson showed what it took to win a battle. You had to become an absolute animal, and that's why he didn't vote. He didn't vote for war, because the only way you're going to win is you gotta be uglier and meaner and more spirit of violence than your enemy. So I thought that was really cool. And during that fight scene, all my kids had the little rubber tomahawks and the little weapons. Look, Daddy, we're beating the evil. Yes, you are, but just don't tell your mom about this. Did we tell them? Now you know where we're going to be, right? Oh, all right.
Comic-Con!
Comic-Con.
Sam's going to be there all weekend. Make sure you get your tickets. He's going to be doing the